Welcome back to your daily basketball recap. My name is Levi Jacob. We haven't been around for a while, um, partially because there hasn't been a lot of news. But rest assured that as the season starts, or even as we're going through preseason, we're going to be covering everything in much more detail. So I want to break down a couple news articles, pieces the last couple weeks that we missed since the last main thing that we discussed was John Wall retiring. Um, on the heels of that came another retirement announcement. I was waiting to do it at a more appropriate time, but that didn't happen. So we can just go over it now. Jeremy Lin officially retired from the NBA. He hasn't been in the league for quite a few years, similar to John Wall, but his impact, I think ultimately over the course of history, I think his impact will be forgotten, which is bizarre because I don't think it should be. He, in a weird way, was like everybody's underdog story mixed into one. Like the Harvard the Harvard educated basketball player somehow became an NBA star seemingly overnight. Um, Not exactly everybody's shared origin story, but it was a great you know story of an underdog who persevered. They had a great story on I think Mike D'Antoni was on someone's podcast, and he said, Jeremy Lin asked him the night before he exploded. He had that really big game, like the big game to start off, that whole month with Linsanity. If he should have his car moved from California to the East Coast, to kind of see, like, will he be staying there longer? And Mike D'Antoni was like, I don't think you should. And come to see, he's made millions of dollars from the NBA. I think he's still playing professionally. I don't know where. But congrats to him on a great career. He had a good few years also with the Rockets as well. People forget about that. Career resurgence with the Nets later on in his career wasn't so old yet, obviously, but still with that, like, insane Goku style haircut, which was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, congrats to Jeremy Lin. Uh, in my mind, at least, he will forever go down as Linsanity. And those were some fun weeks. Those were some fun weeks. Aside from the Kobe interview, everything like that. It was a great time. Moving on, PJ Washington signed a 4-year, $90 million extension with the Mavericks. It's In my eyes, it's so hard to gauge how good PJ Washington is. Honestly, I actually happen to like him. Obviously, his time with the Mavericks has shown more promise than his time with the Wizards, but that's the Wizards. So, that being said, he's played well defensively for this Mavericks team. He's showed some offensive prowess, especially before they had more of an official forward in Anthony Davis, and they made that big trade. But I do think that he's actually going to be a good piece for them. I think that this is a big reward for the prominence that he helped them achieve in going to the not only Western Conference Finals, but NBA Finals. And yeah, I, I I don't necessarily love the number, but I think he's still pretty young. He's still he's at the beginning of his prime, and I think that he can continue to be a successful player for this Mavericks team, especially when Anthony Davis goes out. If he can remain PJ Washington, that is, if he can remain healthy. So come on in the backup minutes when Anthony Davis is out, or whenever he has to start over him. If Cooper Flag doesn't take those forward minutes, who knows? But I think that he's a good tool and a good piece for this team, and I'm happy that they brought him back. They rewarded that effort that he put out there. Moving on, Cam Thomas. We were all wondering what was going to happen over the course of restricted free agency um, for the big three guys. To start off the news, Cam Thomas signed a 1-year, $6 million qualifying offer with the Nets. Um, that will then result in him being a unrestricted free agent next offseason. This most likely was probably the best that he was going to get. Unfortunately, I want to see him play out this season. I think he will prove people wrong, especially the Nets. I I wonder if he signs with the Nets next season just because of how this whole thing played out. But I happen to like Cam Thomas. Unfortunately, he's not going to be the guy to pass the ball much. Um, but he showed that he can really score, and I think that there's going to be some team that really finds it valuable again. I think we mentioned a couple weeks ago, like I would love for him to be in a sixth man role and take home that trophy a couple of times. I think that he's like, he could be a Jamal Crawford type, except Jamal Crawford was better at passing. But I think that he's still very young. He could show that he could improve in his passing and especially with his scoring uptick. Now would be the time to really refine and utilize that skill. So I hope for his sake he does. And it gets him paid. He's fun to watch. He's very fun to watch. Moving on, Thomas Sorber. Not such big news. I don't know how much he was going to play for them, honestly. He's more of like a long-term investment for the Thunder. But he is going to miss this upcoming season with the ACL tear. What is it with Thunder rookies, huh? It's upsetting. It's upsetting. I would love to watch him play this year. I think he's going to be great in the long run. Great. I think he's going to be like a good player for this Thunder team in the long run. Hopefully he can recover, especially with modern medicine, all that, yada, yada. But I happen to like Thomas Sorber a lot. So get better, feel good. Feel good. Moving on. Josh Giddy. It's number 2 of the 3 big names in restricted free agency. I guess 4 names. Josh Giddy agreed to a 4-year, $100 million deal with the Bulls. This is the $25 million. He wanted 30. The Bulls wanted to give him 20 a year for 3 years. They reached the 4-year, 25. This is what compromise looks like. This is a happy medium. That's a great amount of money for him. I think that he should really be happy with that deal. It's not the max, but he has too many things in his game that are risks for them to pay the max for right now. That being said, they gave Patrick Williams a max for some reason, and he has not shown anything to merit that. So, I mean, even before they gave it to him, he hadn't shown anything really to merit that. So, I don't know. Only God knows with this Bulls team, but I do think that this was the right move. I'm excited to watch their fast-paced offense next year, or this upcoming year, I should say. And I believe in Josh Giddy. I believe in Josh Giddy. Shams announced this again a couple days ago. We're just catching up on a few news items. Shams announced that the NBA has decided that end of quarter heaves by NBA players are no longer going to be counted as the individual player's heave. So all those players who are worried about messing up their stats from 3-point range at the end of quarters, for whatever reason that is, however silly that is, can now chuck away with their heart's desire, and it'll just count towards the team. And that's it. No big deal. Now we can see if players can actually consistently make half court or full court shots, which is pretty exciting. All right. 2 Knicks signings. I actually like both of them. Landry Shamet is Landry Shamet. He played some playoff minutes for the Knicks last year. I think he will look better under Mike Brown, but the other signing is a bigger deal to me, which is Malcolm Brogdon. He won 6 Men of the Year 2 years ago, I believe. He's had injuries here and there, obviously, but he also was with the Wizards and the Trailblazers. They didn't really want to give him much playing time. I think that if healthy, I actually think that he's the exact right piece that the Knicks got here, and I'm excited for them. Putting him alongside Clarkson, they have a good guard rotation now. Brunson doesn't have to do everything. And with Mike Brown, he knows how to utilize these kinds of guards pretty effectively. So I'm excited for their sake. It looks good. Lastly, the Hawks trade Kobe Buffkin to the Nets for cash considerations. That's not really going to be a story, but it is what it is. And lastly, the one that I've just been hearing a lot about, the Heat and the Lakers apparently are trying to deal Andrew Wiggins for Dalton Connect. Some sort of pick included in there. And I believe that one of the names I saw floating around was Gabe Vincent. There's a couple different names that are thrown in there that they might try to utilize in order to get this Andrew Wiggins contract. I am worried for their sake because I want to see Andrew Wiggins benefit from the situation. I want to see them benefit from having Andrew Wiggins. he's inconsistent. That's always been the issue with Andrew Wiggins. In Golden State, he brought the consistency that was very exciting to see. I don't know how motivated he will be on this Lakers team, but I would love to see it if he is. I would love the Lakers to get better players around, their top guys. And Andrew Wiggins is exactly that kind of two-way wing that can really help them. And I think that for the Heat, getting another shooter actually might really help them because they're kind of running low on shooters, which is weird because they made such a big improvement with Duncan Robinson and Max Strus. Like, they made that style of play popular with the two heavy three-point shooting guards and a lot of defense beside them, as well as obviously Tyler Hero. But it could be a really interesting swap, to say the very least. But yeah, that's all we have today. We're all looking forward to seeing what happens with Jonathan Kuminga, obviously. His contract situation with the Warriors is looking very interesting. There's been a lot of different reporting. Reporting is reporting. Until something's done, you never know. That being said, this has been your daily basketball recap. I hope all of you have a great day. Shlomo, excited to be back on the pod with you soon. Max, thank you for producing. Thank you to all of you for listening and watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.